It's Wednesday, 20th of November 2024. Let's take a look at the headlines making waves in Nigerian dailies of today. Let's begin with the Punch. The border headline says PDP crisis, Damagum to remain chair as NWC state chairman meets. Kenson's page 2 of the paper to get the complete story. And above the nameplate, APC, PDP governors disagree over oil revenue sharing. The full story is found on page 2 of the paper. And beside that, on page 21, Dangote Refinery begins petrol export to West African nations. Auditor General uncovers 4.6 billion naira unapproved spending in Umahi's ministry. Can turn to page 21 of the paper to get the complete story. Beside the nameplate on page 19, 5 soldiers, 50 terrorists killed, and SCDC agents missing in Borno and Niger. Below the picture, tributes as Senate holds valedictory session for late Uba. And below that, Ajayi heads to court as Ayedatua gets certificate of return. Kenton's page 2 to get the complete story. And beside that, on page 4 and 5, 4 UK-based Nigerian students jailed over street fight. Agents petition NCAA as foreign airlines sell tickets in dollars. Kenton's page 22 of the paper to get the complete story. Away from that, let's take a look at Daily Trust, where the border headline says, Traditional rulers not afraid of governors. That report is coming from the Sultan, and you can turn to page 4 of the paper to get the complete story. Below the nameplate, 5 soldiers, 30 terrorists killed as Boko Haram attacks troops in Borno. 13 months after, Tinubu yet to appoint ambassadors, and embassies where Enugu is spending 33% of budget on education. Below the picture, Nigeria's debt profile to hit 138 trillion naira as Tinubu seeks fresh 1.8 trillion naira. You can turn to page 4 of the paper to get the complete story. And below that, on page 21, economic challenge has pushed 130 million people into poverty, says Smedon. Federal government lifts ban to post car members to banks and others. Can turn to page 34 of the paper to get the complete story. And on page 8, UN permanent seat, Nigeria lobbies G20 leaders. Let's take a look at The Guardian. The border headline says 2025 appropriation bill. Fiscal hurdle awaits 47.9 trillion naira budget. MDA's mobilization capacity. Can turn to page 6 to get the complete story. And below the picture on Ondo Guber poll, Ajayi rejects results, vows to take legal action. You can turn to page 24 of the paper to get the complete story. And on page 6, on social challenges, Tinubu warns of unrest as Zulum decries IDP camp polygamy. Senate Vice President bid Uba farewell with glowing tribute. Can turn to page 5 to get the complete story. And also on page 5, food insecurity threatens Nigeria's stability. Future, says Minister. Federal government revokes directives relating to NYSC posting restrictions. Can turn to page 28 of the paper to get the complete story. And on the news page 7, Falana underscores right to free education, flees errant state governors. Tom Polo accuses Navy of aiding oil thieves. Can turn to page 27 to get the complete story. And on the business page 15, expansionary budget will worsen inflation, forex exchange crisis, NES wants federal government. Let's take a look at Business Day newspaper, where the border headline says, Investors try gold as stocks up 264% in 5 years. You can turn to page 31 of the paper to get the complete story. And beside that, court allows virtual evidence in 108 billion naira employer suit against Total Energies. The full story is found on page 31 of the paper. And below that, on page 30, Nigeria's quest to double oil output faces crude realities, and Trump effect sees U.S. property markets rebound. Can turn to page 28 of the paper to get the complete story. To wrap up is the Nigerian Tribune, where the border headline says, Tinubu writes NAS seeks approval to borrow 1.77 trillion naira. Can turn to page 6 to get the complete story. And above the nameplate, cholera kills 25 in Sokoto, 15 hospitalized. Can turn to page 5 to get the complete story. And beside that, on page 4, Presidency says it has no individual spokesman. Below the picture, Nigerian Economic Society calls for rework of proposed 47.18 trillion naira 2025 budget. Can turn to page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune to get the complete story. And that's the headlines making waves in Nigerian dailies of today. If any of these headlines caught your attention, do well to get a copy of the paper and read the full story on the identified pages.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.